Does your cat seem fine? Eating, sleeping, doing cat things? But what if fine is exactly the mask they're wearing? Here's something most owners never realize. Cats are hardwired to hide discomfort. In the wild, showing weakness is dangerous. So, they don't complain, they don't cry, they just quietly change. And those changes are so subtle, so easy to write off as personality, that most people miss them entirely, until something is seriously wrong. These 7 behaviors are your cat's way of telling you something is off, and once you know what to look for, you'll never look at your cat the same way again. Stay with me until the last one, because number 7 is the one most owners never see coming. 1. They stop grooming themselves the way they used to. Have you noticed your cat looking a little rough lately? Coat slightly dull, fur a little matted around the edges, maybe not as clean as they used to be. Most owners chalk it up to laziness or age. But here's what's actually happening. Grooming is not just hygiene for a cat, it's emotional regulation. When a cat is feeling safe, comfortable, and content, they groom consistently. It's almost meditative for them. A settled cat grooms after eating, after waking up, after being petted. It's a sign their nervous system is calm. But when something is wrong, that routine breaks down. A cat that's stressed, in pain, or emotionally withdrawn will stop grooming the way they used to. The behavior doesn't disappear completely, which is why it's so easy to miss. It just quietly reduces. The coat starts losing its shine. Knots form in spots they used to reach easily. That dusty, slightly unkempt look creeps in slowly. On the other side, some unhappy cats do the opposite. They overgroom. They lick one spot obsessively until the fur is thin or the skin is raw. That's anxiety expressing itself through the only coping mechanism they have. Either direction, a change in grooming is your cat's body telling you their emotional world has shifted. If you notice it, don't just buy a new brush. Start asking why. 2. They stop using the litter box perfectly. This is the one most owners take personally. Your cat starts going outside the box. Maybe just occasionally, maybe more than that. And the instinct is to feel frustrated, to assume it's behavioral, to punish or scold. But here's what you need to understand. A cat that was litter trained and suddenly isn't is not being defiant. They're communicating the only way they know. How? Litter box avoidance is one of the clearest signals of unhappiness in cats. It can mean physical discomfort, a urinary issue, or pain that makes getting in and out of the box difficult. But it can also mean stress, anxiety, a change in the home they haven't been able to process, a new person, a new pet, a shift in routine, even furniture rearranged in a way that changed how safe a certain corner of the house feels. Cats are creatures of control. The litter box is one of the few things in their world they can dictate. When something in their environment feels threatening or wrong, some cats start avoiding it as a way of expressing that the world no longer feels right. Before you get frustrated, ask yourself what changed, because something almost always did. 3. They flinch at things they never used to. Picture this. You reach down to pet your cat the way you always do. Same movement, same hand, same speed, and they flinch, pull back slightly, maybe even dart away. Most owners feel hurt by this, like their cat suddenly doesn't trust them. But this isn't about you. It's about what's happening inside your cat's nervous system. A cat that has become hypervigilant, that startles easily, reacts to sounds they ignored before, or flinches at familiar touch, is a cat living in a low-grade state of stress. Their threat response is dialed up. Everything feels like it requires a reaction, because their baseline sense of safety has dropped. This can come from something obvious. A loud construction project outside, a new animal they can smell through the window, a change in schedule that disrupted their entire sense of order. Or it can come from something subtle. A tension in the house they've absorbed, an owner going through something difficult. Cats are extraordinarily sensitive to emotional atmosphere. They read it in your body language, your voice, your movement, and they carry it. If your cat is suddenly skittish, don't take it personally and don't write it off. Their nervous system is telling you something the rest of their body is trying to hide. 4. They sleep in different spots than they used to. Cats are creatures of habit. In the most precise way, your cat has a map of your home in their head. They know exactly which spots are warm, which are safe, which smell like you, which face the door, and they rotate through those spots with remarkable consistency. So, When that pattern changes, it matters. If your cat has suddenly abandoned a favorite spot and moved somewhere more hidden, more isolated, harder to reach, that's not random. Cats retreat when they feel vulnerable. They find spaces where they feel less exposed, under the bed, behind the couch, inside a closet they've never cared about before. That shift is your cat quietly pulling inward, and it usually means something in their world feels less safe than it used to. On the flip side, some cats move in the opposite direction. When they're unhappy, they start sleeping directly on top of you, on your chest, on your pillow, far closer than their usual comfort zone. That's not always affection. Sometimes it's anxiety. They're anchoring themselves to the one thing in their world that still feels predictable. You either pattern, moving away, or moving too close. When it's a departure from their normal, pay attention. Your cat just told you something without making a single sound. 5. They stop playing completely. And hey, before we get into this one, if this video is making you look at your cat differently, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more owners who want to understand their cat, not just live with them now. Think back to the last time your cat actually played. Not the kind where you wave something in front of them and they stare blankly. The real kind, where their pupils go wide, their body goes low, their tail twitches, and something primal switches on. If you can't remember when that last happened, that's important. Play is not optional for cats. It's a biological drive. Stalking, chasing, pouncing, catching, that sequence is wired into them at a level that doesn't switch off just because they live indoors. A cat that plays regularly is a cat that feels safe enough to engage with the world around them. When a cat stops playing entirely, something has shifted. It can be physical. Joint pain, illness, or fatigue can make movement feel unappealing. But it can also be emotional. A cat that is depressed, chronically stressed, or deeply withdrawn will lose interest in play. The same way a person going through something difficult loses interest in things. They used to enjoy. The warning sign isn't a cat that plays less. It's a cat that doesn't respond at all. You bring out the toy, and there's nothing. No pupils dilating, no weight shifting, just a flat, disconnected stare. That absence of response is your cat telling you the light has gone a little dim. 6. They become unusually vocal, or completely silent. Most owners have a baseline for their cat's voice. Some cats are chatty, some are quiet. You know what normal sounds like for your specific cat, even if you've never consciously thought about it. So when that baseline shifts dramatically in either direction, something is off. A cat that suddenly becomes far more vocal, yowling at odd hours, meowing at walls, crying in a way that feels different from their usual communication, is a cat trying to express something they can't resolve on their own. It could be pain. It could be disorientation, especially in older cats where cognitive changes can cause confusion. It could be a deep need for connection that isn't being met. But the flip side is just as important and far easier to miss. A cat that goes quiet. A cat that used to greet you at the door and now doesn't. That used to chirp at birds through the window and now sits in silence. That used to respond when you called their name and now doesn't bother. Silence in a previously vocal cat is one of the most overlooked signs of unhappiness there is. Because it looks like calm, it looks like peace. It looks like your cat is just in a mellow phase. But sometimes quiet is not contentment. Sometimes quiet is a cat that has stopped expecting things to get better. 7. They look at you differently. This is the one I mentioned at the beginning, the one most owners never see coming, because it doesn't involve movement or sound or anything you'd typically call a behavior. It's just a look. But once you know what you're seeing, it's impossible to unsee a content. Bonded cat makes eye contact with you in a specific way. Soft eyes, relaxed brow, often followed by a slow blink that says, "I see you and I'm not afraid." That look is your cat at full emotional capacity. Present, safe, connected. An unhappy cat looks different. The eyes are harder to read at first. They might stare without blinking, not the slow, intentional blink of trust, but a fixed, dull gaze that doesn't quite land on you the way it used to. Or they avoid eye contact entirely. They're in the room, but they're not with you. Researchers studying feline emotional expression have found that the area around a cat's eyes, specifically the tension in their brow and the softness or hardness of their gaze, is one of the most reliable indicators of their internal state. A relaxed cat has a soft face. A cat in distress, even low-grade, chronic distress, in their eyes before anywhere else, you don't need a study to feel this. You've probably already felt it without knowing what it was. That moment where you looked at your cat and something felt slightly off, like they were there but not quite there, like something behind their eyes had quietly stepped back. That feeling was real, and your cat was counting on you to notice. Most of these signs are easy to explain away. A bad day, a weird week, just getting older. And sometimes that's all it is. But when multiple signs appear together, when the grooming changes and the hiding starts and the eyes go flat, that's not a phase. That's your cat reaching out in the only language they have. They can't tell you something is wrong. They can only show you, and now you know exactly what to look for.